From heinous acts of violence to disturbing acts of manipulation to actual murder, these teens have left a trail of fear and devastation in their wake. They are the scariest teens whose terrifying crimes have shocked the world. And now, in a few days, they will be released back into society. Get ready for a bone-chilling journey into the stories of the scariest teens who will be released in a few days. Alyssa Weir. In the realm of true crime, there are few cases as chilling as that of Alyssa Weir. As we mentioned in our introduction, Alyssa is one of the scariest teens who is set to be released in just a few days. Her involvement in a shocking and brutal crime left the nation in disbelief. Today, we will delve deep into the twisted mind of Alyssa Weir, exploring the events that led to her heinous actions and the aftermath that followed. Alyssa's story begins in Waukesha, Wisconsin, where she grew up like any other seemingly ordinary teenager. But behind her innocent facade lurked a darkness that would eventually consume her. On that fateful day in May 2014, Alyssa, along with her friend Morgan Geyser, embarked on a mission that would forever change their lives and the life of their victim, Peyton Leutner. It was on May 31, 2014, that Alyssa, along with her friend Morgan Geyser, embarked on a sinister plan to appease the fictional character known as Slender Man. This tall, thin figure with a featureless white face and head had captured the imaginations of many, but for Alyssa and Morgan, he became something much more sinister. The two girls lured their friend Peyton Leutner to a park in Waukesha under the pretense of playing a game. Little did Peyton know that she was about to become the victim of a horrifying act. As Morgan stabbed Peyton 19 times with a knife, Alyssa stood by, urging her on. The brutality of the attack was shocking, leaving Peyton fighting for her life. Miraculously, Peyton managed to crawl to a nearby road, where she was discovered by a passing cyclist. Her survival was nothing short of a miracle, but the scars, both physical and emotional, would remain with her forever. Alyssa and Morgan were apprehended by authorities just hours after the attack. The details that emerged during the investigation were chilling. It became apparent that Alyssa and Morgan had become obsessed with the Slender Man mythos, believing that by committing this act of violence, they would become his proxies and be spared from his wrath. The case garnered national attention, sparking a heated debate about the role of the internet in society and its influence on young minds. The Creepypasta Wiki, the website where the Slender Man myth originated, was even blocked in the Waukesha School District in an effort to prevent further exposure to such disturbing content. In court, Alyssa and Morgan's mental states were called into question. Both girls were found not guilty by reason of insanity and were committed to mental health institutions. Alyssa, in particular, was diagnosed with a shared delusional disorder, which meant that her beliefs and actions were heavily influenced by her close relationship with Morgan. For 7 long years, Alyssa remained in the confines of the mental health institution, receiving treatment and therapy. And now, as the day of her release approaches, questions arise about what lies ahead for this young woman who was once consumed by darkness. Alyssa's journey towards rehabilitation has not been an easy one. Throughout her time in the institution, she has undergone extensive therapy to address her delusions and learn healthier coping mechanisms. The goal has been to reintegrate her into society, but the question of whether she is truly ready remains. In 2021, Alyssa submitted a letter to the court expressing remorse for her actions. It was a heartfelt plea for a second chance, a chance to prove that she has changed and can lead a productive, law-abiding life. The court, after careful consideration, ordered her release from the Mental Health Institute. However, Alyssa's release does not come without conditions. She will be closely monitored and supervised until the age of 37. This includes the removal of her GPS monitor, a significant step towards her reintegration into society.
We thought this day would come. And again, we're disappointed that the sentence wasn't served longer.
But the question remains, can she truly leave her past behind and forge a new path? Hussein Muhammad. Hussein Muhammad, a 14-year-old Burlington youth, has been charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and manslaughter in a case that has sent shockwaves through the community. The details surrounding Muhammad's alleged crime are nothing short of horrifying.
They say Muhammad was sitting in the backseat with the gun when Weir was shot.
According to a police affidavit, the incident occurred on a fateful night in Bristol. Muhammad was in a parked car with 3 other individuals when he fired a 9mm handgun, striking Madden Weir, who was seated in the front passenger seat. The gunshot proved fatal, and Weir was pronounced dead upon arrival at the UVM Medical Center.
Authorities say Hussein was in a car with Madden Weir in Bristol.
Muhammad's defense tried to appeal for a release, stating the fact that he was underage and that there were no suitable juvenile facilities to hold him. They argued that it would be better for him to have a conditional release and be monitored by his own family. This argument was torn apart by the other side rather quickly. State prosecutors wasted no time in charging Muhammad as an adult, emphasizing the extreme recklessness of his actions and the tragic consequences that ensued. Addison County State's attorney, Eva Vekos, has been vocal about the severity of the case, stating that the behavior exhibited by Muhammad was reckless to an extreme and resulted in the loss of a young life. The decision to charge Muhammad as an adult has sparked controversy, with critics questioning whether his age and the absence of evidence suggesting intent to harm should have been taken into account. The Rutland area branch of the NAACP, among others, has expressed concern over the potential racial bias in the charging decision. However, the lack of a secure juvenile facility in Vermont has complicated matters. With the closure of Woodside Juvenile Rehabilitation Center, the state's only secure facility for minors, authorities have been left with limited options for detention. Muhammad's case has shed light on the urgent need for a suitable facility where young offenders can be held. Muhammad's case extends beyond the question of detention. The jurisdictional implications are also significant. While Muhammad is being charged as an adult, there is no guarantee that he will be convicted as one. The possibility of moving the case to family court, where records are sealed, has been raised. However, this would limit the jurisdiction over Muhammad to his 18th birthday, whereas adult court would allow for continued jurisdiction if necessary. Marshal Paul, from the Juvenile Division of the Vermont Defender General's Office, has highlighted the need for further examination of the second-degree murder charge. Paul suggests that the allegation of tragic carelessness may not be sufficient to support such a serious charge. He points out that the police affidavit, which forms the basis of the case, is relatively thin in terms of evidence. The state initially sought to hold Muhammad without bail, citing concerns about public safety and his previous violation of release conditions involving firearm possession. However, the lack of a suitable facility for young offenders has presented a challenge. With nowhere else to place Muhammad outside of an adult prison, authorities have agreed to a 24-hour curfew and strict conditions that allow him to live at home with his family. He is only permitted to leave for school, doctor appointments, and court appearances. The challenges posed by Muhammad's case underscore the need for comprehensive reform in Vermont's juvenile justice system. The closure of Woodside Juvenile Rehabilitation Center has left authorities grappling with the difficult task of balancing accountability and rehabilitation for young offenders. The case of Hussein Muhammad serves as a stark reminder of the complexities and shortcomings of the current system. Alyssa Traviso. Alyssa Traviso, a name that sends chills down the spine, is a 19-year-old woman from Artesia, New Mexico, who is set to be released from confinement in just a few days. Her story is one of horror and disbelief, as she stands accused of committing a heinous crime that shook the community to its core. It all began in late January when Traviso locked herself in a bathroom at an Artesia hospital. Little did anyone know that within those walls, a sinister act was about to unfold. In the solitude of that bathroom, Traviso gave birth to a baby boy, a new life full of potential and innocence. But what happened next would forever tarnish that innocence. Nurses at the hospital made a horrifying discovery when they found the lifeless body of the newborn in a trash can. The shock and horror reverberated through the community as the authorities were called in to investigate this unimaginable crime. The Office of the Medical Investigator conducted an autopsy, and their findings sent shockwaves through the community. The baby's death was ruled a homicide. The autopsy revealed that the baby had air in his lungs and stomach, suggesting that he was suffocated to death by entrapment. On May 10th, Traviso was charged with first-degree murder, a crime that carries grave consequences. The evidence against her is compelling, with the circumstances surrounding the baby's discovery and the autopsy findings pointing to her involvement. The community was left reeling, grappling with the question of how someone so young could commit such a heinous act. However, her attorney is now blaming the hospital for the baby's death, claiming that the staff gave her drugs that caused the fatal outcome. According to the attorney, Traviso had repeatedly denied her pregnancy and claimed that the baby was stillborn. But the New Mexico Office of the Medical Investigator ruled the death a homicide, and she was charged with murder. The attorney argues that Traviso has been unfairly vilified and denies that she strangled her son to death. Instead, he accuses the medical staff at Artesia General Hospital of plying her with a cocktail of drugs, including morphine, that killed the child before the birth. He claims that the drugs she allegedly received before the staff knew she was about to give birth are inappropriate for pregnant women, especially those in labor. The attorney points to a toxicology report that shows the baby had morphine in his system at birth, along with other health issues. Alexei was permitted to attend New Mexico State University, NMSU, NMSU in person, despite facing charges of first-degree murder and tampering with evidence in connection with her newborn son's death. The trial for the criminal charges was set for February 2024, but she was granted early release, allowing her to attend the university in person and also to speak with the father of the child, Devin Fierro, with whom she is not allowed to discuss the case. The judge ruled in favor of allowing her to attend the university in person, stating that the domestic violence prohibition did not apply in this case. The case has sparked significant controversy, with a petition calling for her to be denied entry into NMSU or any other educational institution due to concerns about public safety and ethical standards. The decision to release Traviso from jail has sparked outrage and controversy. Despite the severity of the charges, a judge ruled that she would be allowed to finish the school year without wearing an ankle monitor or being placed under house arrest. This decision has left many questioning the justice system and the potential risks of releasing someone accused of such a horrific crime. Tristan Hamilton. Tristan Hamilton, the South Portland teenager who is set to be released from Long Creek Youth Development Center, has a haunting background that has left the community in fear. Hamilton, once confined behind bars, is now on the brink of re-entering society, leaving many questioning the safety of their communities. Hamilton's crimes are nothing short of disturbing, and the details surrounding his case are enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Born and raised in South Portland, Hamilton seemed like an ordinary teenager at first glance. However, behind closed doors, he harbored a dark and sinister side that would eventually come to light. It all began in April when Hamilton's threats against South Portland High School sent shockwaves through the community. The school, once a place of learning and safety, suddenly became a potential target for his violent intentions.
Superintendents have to worry about gun violence, and that's really unfortunate.
Charged with terrorizing, criminal solicitation, and arson, Hamilton's crimes paint a picture of a troubled individual with a dangerous agenda. The specifics of his threats and the extent of his involvement in planning a murder plot are bone-chilling. The mere thought of a teenager plotting such heinous acts is enough to make one question the state of our society. Thankfully, the FBI and local police were able to handle the situation before it occurred. The teen was apprehended along with his father, and their home was searched for any potential threats. Police confiscated multiple rifles from the house and arrested the father and son duo.
We believe that plan averted a very likely tragedy here in the community.
But Hamilton's disturbing behavior didn't stop there. Even while in custody at Long Creek Youth Development Center, he continued to display alarming tendencies. Reports of his unsettling remarks to staff members and another incident at the facility only added to the growing concerns about his potential for causing harm. Despite these red flags, Hamilton managed to violate the conditions of his previous release by using electronic devices and social media to communicate. This blatant disregard for the rules and restrictions placed upon him raises serious questions about his ability to be rehabilitated and reintegrated into society. In November, Hamilton's arrest for violating the conditions of his release further solidified the notion that he posed a significant risk to the public. Yet a judge in October denied a request to detain him, citing a lack of evidence to suggest that the community was in immediate danger. However, additional restrictions were imposed, including a prohibition on contact with the alleged victim and a ban from the grounds of South Portland High School and any public school events. As the judge approves Hamilton's release from Long Creek, it is not without stringent measures in place. House arrest with adult supervision and limited permissions to leave his home only for specific reasons and with prior notice has been imposed. These precautions are meant to ensure the safety of the community while Hamilton awaits his pretrial hearing to determine the next steps in his trial. South Portland School has taken the initiative to improve security around the school. They've installed more cameras and implemented a system-wide locking mechanism to close off certain parts of the school if there is an attacker.
We are implementing a new district-wide standard response.
Tristan Hamilton's case serves as a stark reminder of the potential dangers lurking within our society. The fact that a teenager could harbor such sinister intentions and pose a threat to innocent lives is a chilling reality. It is crucial that we remain vigilant and aware of the individuals around us, especially those who have shown a propensity for violence and harm. Megan Joyce Amowitz. Megan Amowitz, a 19-year-old from Michigan, made headlines when she was released from jail after serving just 506 days for a shocking crime. The story of Megan Amowitz is one that sends shivers down the spine and raises questions about the justice system. It all started on that fateful day in October 2021 when Megan's father, Conrad Amowitz, told her he was too drunk to drive her to a hair salon. Frustrated and angry, Megan hatched a plan that would forever change their lives. While her father slept, she took a bottle of chemical drain cleaner and doused him with it. The attack left Conrad with extensive chemical burns that required amputation of his feet and part of his leg. He endured months of pain, infections, and kidney failure before succumbing to his injuries on March 6, 2022. The severity of the crime shocked the community and left them grappling with the senselessness of it all. During the trial, Megan denied throwing lye at her father and claimed she had only thrown bread at him to wake him up.
Something was thrown on your dad, or you did toss something over, but it wasn't lye.
Yes, I tossed some bread at him to get his attention.
However, prosecutors presented evidence that pointed to a different story. They argued that Megan attacked her father out of anger and frustration because he was unable to fulfill her desire to go to the hair salon before her 18th birthday party. The jury found Megan guilty of domestic violence and unlawful possession or use of a harmful irritant causing death. The potential life sentence loomed over her as the trial progressed, but when the sentencing came, it was met with shock and outrage. Megan was sentenced to just 1 year in jail with credit for time served. Many questioned the leniency of the sentence, especially considering the severity of the crime and the devastating impact it had on Conrad and his family. Megan's release from jail after serving only 506 days sparked a heated debate about the fairness of the justice system. Some argued that if the roles were reversed and it was a father attacking his daughter, the punishment would have been much harsher. Others pointed to studies that highlight the gender bias in sentencing, with men receiving longer sentences on average than women for similar crimes. The emotional plea Megan made in court added another layer of complexity to the case. She described her father as her hero and best friend, expressing her grief over his loss. Quoting a Bible verse, she tried to convey her innocence and the pain she and her siblings have endured since their father's death. Her mother, Julie Conrad, also pleaded for leniency, highlighting Megan's age and emotional maturity. The decision of the judge to give Megan a relatively light sentence left many questioning the justice system's ability to deliver appropriate punishments for such heinous crimes. Chief Assistant Prosecutor David Williams acknowledged that the sentence was not what they had advocated for, but emphasized that the judge has the final say in determining the sentence. As Megan walked out of the courtroom, she was met with a mix of emotions. She admitted to being shocked by the slap-on-the-wrist sentence, expressing her happiness at being able to go home with her family, but also her fear of facing her father's absence. Her journey to freedom began with a visit to a local McDonald's, where she ordered chicken McNuggets and French fries, a stark contrast to the gravity of the situation. The story of Megan Amowitz serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can reside within seemingly ordinary individuals. It raises questions about the fairness of the justice system and the impact of gender bias in sentencing. The scars left by this crime will forever haunt the Amowitz family and the community they belong to. Alexis Avila, a 19-year-old woman from New Mexico, sent shockwaves through the nation when she was convicted of intentional child abuse resulting in great bodily harm. Avila's heinous crime involved attempting to kill her own newborn son by stuffing him in a trash bag and tossing him into a dumpster. The details of this chilling act are enough to send chills down anyone's spine. It all started on that fateful day. Officers with the Hobbs Police Department and Emergency Medical Services personnel responded to a distressing 911 call. The call reported the discovery of a baby in a dumpster behind a Rig Outfitters and Home store near the state's eastern border with Texas. When first responders arrived at the scene, they found two males standing near the dumpster and a female sitting inside a vehicle holding the baby. The condition in which the baby was found was nothing short of horrifying. Wrapped in a dirty and wet bath towel, the newborn had dried blood on him, and his umbilical cord was still attached. Emergency medical services immediately rendered aid before rushing the child to a local hospital for treatment. Due to the severity of the situation, the newborn was later flown to a specialized pediatric hospital in Texas for further care. The discovery of the baby in the dumpster was made by 3 individuals who were searching for discarded items of value. As they rummaged through the trash, they heard the faint sound of crying coming from a black garbage bag. Curiosity piqued. They opened the bag, expecting to find a stray animal. Instead, they were met with the sight of a helpless newborn. In a desperate attempt to save the child, one of the men called for help while the female took the baby into the car, cradling him to keep him warm. The investigation into this shocking incident didn't end there. Authorities obtained surveillance camera footage from the owner of Rig Outfitters, which revealed the chilling moments leading up to the baby's abandonment. The footage showed a white 4-door Volkswagen Jetta pulling into the nearly empty parking lot. A woman emerged from the driver's side door, opened the back passenger door, and retrieved a black bag from the back seat. Without hesitation, she callously tossed the bag into the open dumpster farthest to the right before swiftly getting back into the vehicle and driving away. The entire act took less than 30 seconds, but the consequences would last a lifetime. The impact of Avila's actions cannot be overstated. ended. The baby's life was forever altered, and the community was left reeling from the shock of such a heartless act. The legal system swiftly brought Avila to justice, and she was convicted of intentional child abuse, resulting in great bodily harm. However, the story doesn't end there.
The grace of God and the happenstance of 3 dumpster divers that found your child, we certainly would be here sentencing you on a murder case as opposed to where you are. It's a miracle.
Despite her conviction, Avila's journey through the justice system took an unexpected turn. The New Mexico Court of Appeals recently granted her motion for release pending appeal. This means that Avila will be released from incarceration under the same conditions she was under prior to her conviction. The decision by the appeals court has sparked controversy and raised questions about the justice system's handling of such a disturbing case. Avila's release pending appeal is based on several factors. The appeals court deemed her not to be a flight risk and concluded that she can safely be released to house arrest. It's worth noting that Avila had already spent over a year on house arrest after posting bond following her initial arrest. Additionally, the appellate judges expressed optimism about the success of Avila's appeal, stating that it raises substantial questions of law likely to result in a reversal or an order for a new trial. The implications of Avila's impending release are profound. Society must grapple with the idea of a convicted child abuser being allowed back into the community, even if it is under house arrest. The safety of the public, particularly vulnerable individuals, must be a paramount concern. The decision to release Avila pending appeal raises important questions about the justice system's ability to protect and serve. As we await the outcome of Avila's appeal, it is crucial to reflect on the chilling nature of her crime and the impact it has had on the lives of those involved. The story of Alexis Avila serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that can reside within even the youngest members of society. It is a chilling tale that forces us to confront the terrifying reality of the scariest teens who will soon be released back into the world.